So that outline provides insight into the structure of the exam. It includes the distribution of questions across the different content areas, and it gives you the weighting of each section. Tonight, I'm giving you strategies to ensure you're studying effectively and retaining the information. Welcome back to HR Exam Prep with Angela. I'm Angela Murray, SHRM SCP, SPHR, and your favorite HR exam coach. There is one question that I get all the time, and that is, Angela, where do I start? How do I study for this exam? You get all your study materials, but then you realize you have no clear path forward. I'm going to sum it up for you in 10 strategies. Number 1, review the exam content outline. Start by reviewing the SHRM exam content outline, which you can find on SHRM's website. So that outline provides insight into the structure of the exam. It includes the distribution of questions across the different content areas, and it gives you the weighting of each section. It breaks down the topics and the subtopics that are going to be covered on the exam, and it specifies the percentage of questions related to each area. Number 2, identify the high-weighted areas. Pay close attention to the areas of the exam content outline that have the highest percentage of questions. These high-weighted areas are typically the most important that you need to focus on during your study sessions. The competencies make up about half of your exam, which means half your study time should be focused here. Number 3, allocate study time proportionally. So allocate your study time proportionally to the weightings of each exam topic. So for example, if a particular topic represents 20% of the exam questions, dedicate roughly 20% of your study time to mastering that topic. The higher the percentage, the more time you devote to that topic area initially. Now, of course, that's going to change as you start to tailor and you start to revise your study plan. But to start, it's a good idea to use the proportional system. So remember, the higher the weight, the more questions you'll have. So it makes sense to devote time to the areas with the most questions. Number 4, assess your knowledge and your weaknesses. You want to assess your current knowledge and understanding of each of the topics and the subtopics. And then you can identify areas where you feel less confident or where you may have a knowledge gap or you just haven't worked in that particular area. So that's where you're going to prioritize and you're going to focus your study a little bit more. Number 5. Review the exam blueprint in the sample questions provided by SHRM. Again, you can visit SHRM's website for your sample questions so you can have a better understanding of the types of questions that you might get on your exam. You can use that information to guide your study and to prioritize. It's really important to make sure that the questions are reflective of the exam questions if you're going outside of SHRM. It really does no good to take practice questions that don't align with the exam. Number 6, you need to create a study plan. It should outline which topics you're going to cover during each study session leading up to your exam and for how long you're going to study each. You want to be realistic about the time commitment because this way you can ensure you stick to the plan. You can make adjustments to your plan as you need based on your progress or how your priorities change. Use study groups. Study groups are a good way to hold yourself accountable, and they give you a little bit more of a push or a little extra motivation. It also helps to bounce ideas off of your group members because you know you guys are like-minded and you're reaching for the same goal. I always advise everybody to use study groups as much as you possibly can. It's difficult sometimes to get a study group that is always aligned, especially if you're on different coasts or if you're in different parts of the world. But you guys just want to make sure that you are able to commit to something, commit to a time, and what you're going to do outside of the group to make sure that when you do meet, the time is productive. Number 7, use mind mapping techniques. Incorporate into your study sessions the mind mapping of core concepts and foundational knowledge that are relevant to multiple exam topics. That's going to provide a solid framework for understanding your more complex areas. For example, a concept like change management you'll see across various HR exam topics. You'll see it in consultation, you'll find it in OED, you'll find it in HR strategy. So the elements of change management, such as Lewin's change management model or Kotter's change management model, is something you should mind map and connect to those different areas. Number 8, use practice exams. Practice exams have several purposes. You can use those practice exams to gauge your understanding and identify areas where you may need to improve. You can use it to focus your study efforts on the topics where you perform poorly in the practice exams to make sure that you are understanding those topics. It also helps to build up your stamina. You're going to have a long test day ahead. You need to start getting prepared for that. And it's also going to help you to understand the structure of the questions and align your thinking to the SHRM best practice. Number 9, find additional resources for difficult topics. If you find that there are certain topics that are particularly challenging for you, look for additional resources. You can find textbooks on Amazon, you can find online courses, or video tutorials that could help you to clarify the concepts and reinforce your understanding. Now, once you find your go-to resources, stick with those. There's a plethora of options, and if you're not careful, you'll get caught up in the whirlwind of trying everything that worked for everyone else. But find what works for you. If there's something that resonates with you and makes the material clear for you, there's no reason to go searching for something else. You need to resist the FOMO because in the end, it always does more harm than good. Don't waste your time trying to decide if something works when you have a tried and true resource right in front of you. No fear of missing out. Number 10, regularly review and adjust. Review your study plan, review your progress. You want to make sure that you are effectively prioritizing your study topics based on your exam weightings and your weaknesses. You want to adjust your study plan and focus on the things that you are not grasping clearly. You want to make sure that you are using your time wisely. And that is only going to happen if you are focused, if you are clear, and if you are reviewing and revising all the time. It only helps you to get better. All right, so those are the 10 strategies that I have for you. It's going to kickstart your study, point you in the right direction. If there's something else that you need help on, just leave it in the comments, and I will be sure to read through those comments and see where I can lend a hand. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye.